The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 3M Open. Picks, research, first look, and getting you ready with all the stats that you need to go through everything to get ready for this tournament. We got a big week ahead of us, so I need you to smash the like button to the episode. In the comment section, give me your early lean to win the 3M Open in, is it in Minneapolis? It's in Blaine, Minnesota, which is a suburb. I've been there, so I can tell you a little bit about the course from what I saw and tell you some stories about Luke List not coming through for me as I was following him around. And subscribe to Mayo Media Network, rate and review the audio podcast. I have a brand new podcast launching on Mayo Media Network this week, Fantasy Football Picks and Bets. So go subscribe to that right now. If you leave a rating and review, 5 stars on Fantasy Football Picks and Bets, and leave your Twitter handle or email address, you'll be in a draw for some juicy giveaways. I'm either going to be giving away $500, $750, or $1,000 in cash giveaways, depending on how many of these reviews that we can get. So the more we get, the better we're going to do. So please go subscribe to that show. I'll be hosting the first one. We're going to have a rotating cast of characters. If you care about football or don't and just want to support Mayo Media Network, please go do that right now. FantasyNational.com is where I'm doing my walkthrough this week. FantasyNational.com/Mayo for a 20% discount on that. And the Listeners League link, it's open. It's in the description of the video and pod, so go join right now. 3 max entry, $15 to play, no rake, thus making it the best tournament on DraftKings. Let's talk a little bit about the course. Like I mentioned, it is TPC Twin Cities in Blaine. As you can see here, it's 7,431 yards, a par 71. Michael Thompson outdueled Tony Finau down the stretch last year. Apparently, Arnold Palmer is the architect. I did not know that. Either way, that's good news to have. We already have 2 withdrawals from the field. Brendan Grace has decided, after making an 8 and killing all my DraftKings lineups, that he's not going to show himself in Minneapolis next week, so he's out chasing Kokrak. Storming up the leaderboard on Friday and Saturday at the Open Championship is also taking a pass on the 3M Open this week. I'm sure we're going to see a few more of the Open Championship participants fade away, but the field itself is not all that bad. Actually, just to kind of stick with the course just for 1 second, PGA National. There's a reason I should have bet Michael Thompson. I just think that the Honda Classic it's this tournament, I guess concession you could look at too, but that was a WGC. It's just when you have so much water in play, there's so many more variables at stake. So it's something that I would be looking at as a potential crossover. It's not necessarily going to lead you to the top of the leaderboard, but I do think success at both and navigating in between disaster is something that you can look at. So let's dig into the field just a little bit and see what we got going here. Or just continuing on with the course, I suppose we could look at that as well. Past course conditions, and we'll look at the course breakdown from the last 2 years. Obviously, the first event here, we had Matthew Wolff chipping in for eagle on the final hole. That final par 5 is a tricky one. Beat Bryson and Morikawa. It's on bent grass, hitting the fairway. Can be pretty easy. The greens are like medium to firm. So the rough length is long. Like there's some weird, it's not necessarily fescue, it's just really long grass if you get yourself into some problems, but it's really the water that you need to watch out for. It's a fairly long course. I played over 7,400 yards last year as a par 71, but it's not very hard when we think about it. You can see on the scorecard, do we have a wraparound? A little bit, yeah. If you're going to play DraftKings Showdown this week, it does seem like it's beneficial to have some guys starting on the back 9. As you can go 18, which is a par 5, then you have the par 4, then you get into 2 and 3. That's going to be a bit tougher, but you have the hardest hole at number 9, so it's going to be hard to wrap around any sort of birdie streaks. You could potentially go 16, 17, 18, 17, 18, 1. Probably not going to be 2 with only a 14% birdie rate, but you have coming down the stretch, you can see these are all close to like 20%ers. Obviously, everyone, no matter where you start, can have a run from 14 through 18, but having number 1 up there as well, which is the 4th easiest hole on the course, and especially in birdie rate at 24%, is something that you can go through and potentially gain a little bit of an extra edge. I mean, I wouldn't play a shitty player because they're starting on the back, but all things being equal, that's a pretty good tiebreaker. Around the green, relatively non-existent this week. Don't need to be the best scrambler in the world. You got to be pretty good good off the tee, very good on your approaches, and you got to be able to make some putts, and you have to be able to dominate the par 5. So I'd be looking, it's funny because when you look back and see the leaderboards at who won, and we'll get into that in a second, I mean, this strikes me as like a bomber's course, but it's really not. It was -2 in 2019 is the cut line, -1. Driving accuracy is way up. Green and regulations way up. Scrambling down because of the water situation. 3 putts way down. Average driving distance, one of the longest on tour at 290. Like, just grip it, rip it, make your putts, hit everything to 15 feet, make your putts, and then you'll be good to go. Even the average green and regulation proximity to the hole is shorter than your average tour event. So expect this to be one of the easier ones on tour. Being good with your long irons can really help. So 175 plus is probably the range that you want to look at, hence why Morikawa probably played so well here. That would be my guess anyway. The par 3s can be relatively challenging, as we see. So you have the 100, and let's just sort by par. Yeah, you have 3 of them that are over 200 yards, so that will likely make the model the 200 to 225 range, along with proximity from in there to really double down on that territory. You see, like, the one really long par 4, that's the hardest hole on the course. Just look at the lengths here. Yeah, all these longer par 4s, so 450 to 500 yards is where you're really going to need to make up a lot of strokes, and you got to be able to get there on the par 5. So let's see, eagle rate 2.6%, 2%, 3.3% on 18. So we'll include eagle rate when we go through everything in the modeling as well, along with our standard stuff. But that's really the way that we want to be looking at the course coming into this week. Let's talk about that field, as I've teased it like 3 times now. Again, Kokrak and Grace are going to be out, but Louis, he could be he could be champion golfer of the year for all we know. However, he is coming with the most strokes gained total. Lee Biota is back in the field, Seamus Power. But the big names that we're looking at, I'm just going to make this easy on myself and sort by past 50 rounds. Even someone like Bubba, maybe he could be a look here too. Reed, Louis, Dustin from the top. You have Finau as well, who really should have won this event last year and did not. Poor round, too, on Saturday. I'm filming this before the concluding round at the Open Championship, so I don't have to film this during the Open Championship. I feel like Tringali did well here last year, too. That might just be something that sticks out in my mind. I forget, I think, it was Wawrinski who was in that final group with them. Let's see, 3M. Hey, he was, yeah. Cameron Tringali was 3rd last year. Not bad. Maybe a look. He's also coming over, having a pretty good Open Championship, all things considered, for Cameron Tringali. So, yeah, DJ in the field. Louis, if he wins, I doubt we end up seeing him. Griot was making a nice little run, then that was the end of him. Keegan Bradley. Sergio is apparently making the flight back over. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of guys making the flights back over. Troy Merritt's a local guy, so this could be a spot to deploy him. We'll see. Let's take just a quick look at Troy Merritt to see what he's been up to. I forget how he did at this tournament. 3M. He was 7th here 2 years ago, missed the cut the year before that, been a lot with putting, and that's really what he's been FIO with when he finally didn't make a few putts at the John Deere. That was kind of the end of him, but maybe we can see something. 1, 2, 3, 4 top 10s in his past 9 starts. Not bad for Troy Merritt. So it's funny that we're going to have strokes gain data from the Barbasol, but we're not going to have it from the Open Championship. That's always a good time. Matthew Wolff. Probably going to be a bet for me, just blindly. Obviously, things haven't been great for him. He did make the cut at the Rocket Mortgage and couldn't make a putt, but pretty good history here at the 3M. He won it, becoming one of the youngest winners ever on the PGA Tour, and then followed it up last year with another T12. So that's a pretty good track record, and I don't know how the markets are going to feel about Wolff. I would guess he probably comes in somewhere between 25 and 40 to 1, depending on the book, as an opening. So it's not a shitty spot to be in, to be perfectly honest with you. I got the Gim Reaper. Woodland, really don't know what to make of his game. Obviously, Bubba's been playing some really good golf, sat out. Have to see if he was I can't remember if he tested positive for COVID or if he was a close contact for COVID, but either way, he looks like he's going to be in the field. I haven't heard anything about his withdrawal as of yet. Stricker's going to be playing. Hadwin will be in the field. EVR, remember chalky EVR from last year? Everyone was on EVR. Oh, he went to school in Minnesota. I believe he missed the cut. I think he was 79 day one. This is the one that Dustin also pulled out of too. Yeah, miscut last year. It was just a really tragic performance from him. Tragic performance on Friday at the Open Championship as well. Just, hey, look at that. Big Rick is playing. Fowler's going to be in the field. I'm just trying to figure out who are going to be the favorites up here. Is there anyone just like big hanging back in the back of the pack? No, it's a pretty scrubby field once we look at it. Huh. Oh, Lucas Herbert is playing? Okay. Herbert missed the cut at the Open after 2 really nice weeks over. And a nice week before coming, too. I believe it was either Travelers or Rocket Mortgage where he wasn't bad. Yeah, 18th at Memorial, 19th at the Travelers, won the Irish Open, finished inside the top 10 at the Scottish Open. So he's playing some good golf at the moment. Just had a really bad go at the Open. It's going to happen to a few people. This might be a decent spot for him. Just another look that we can potentially make here. Quade Cummins. That's a name for you. Good God. I don't know who that is, but sounds pretty good. Not going to be good. No, Kadira. I followed around Kadira a bit when I was here last time. Chuck Schwartzel, I feel like, was in the mix last year too. But Kadira, that's the first time I was like, oh, every Japanese player just has a huge type of, just has a huge following. Like he had his caddy who was just blasting cigs the entire time. And he had like 4 or 5 like press members just following him around. I thought it was pretty interesting. So Chucky Schwartz, I don't know how he did at the Open or if he even played in the Open. I can't recall at this point. That's something I could look up, but let's see. The Open. Let's see. Did Schwartzel play? I know I didn't play him, so... No, he did not play. So if we look at Charles Schwartzel, he doesn't have bad form coming in. 19th at the U.S. Open. It's the last time that we saw him. He has 1 miscut. That was at the PGA Championships. So from Honda, and we'll take a look at Honda this year too, if I'm going to call it a crossover course. Haggy would probably be someone to look at. U.S. Open, Memorial, miscut at the PGA. So yeah, he's on a nice little like not made cut streak, obviously. But he's someone that has been playing some pretty consistent golf, at least in terms of making cuts, and he was 3rd here a year ago. So that's something to look at as well. Just trying to see the strokes gained from the Honda. Call this SG and tournament history. I just think that this course does correlate a little bit. We'll see who got up there in terms of approach and driving. Even just look tee to green. We'll throw out a lot of the around the green stuff. Scott's not playing. Harry Iggs, as Tim would say, the Brit. But he's not really British, but Tim thought he was, so that was fun times. Tringali was up there again. Keegan, we could potentially give a look to. Haggy, didn't really do it with the strokes gained approach, but the driving was way up there. Who was tops in approach? Higgs, Seifert, the Gooch, Sink and Kadira probably going to be up there. Okay, so we got some names that we can play off of now. Tom Lewis was another one. Not sure how he's doing at the Barbasol. Lebioda actually kind of killed that course in terms of approach and couldn't do anything else. Schwartzel, again, was up there in approach, couldn't drive, couldn't putt that week, although we know him to be a very good putter. So there are some names that I think that we can tackle towards the long shot territory or even in terms of low-end DraftKings plays. Let's take a look at the tournament history and just take a look at how the players who did it the past few years actually accomplished that feat. Obviously, Michael Thompson, putting and irons. That's all he needed a year ago. We'll switch over to the strokes gained. Adam Long finished in second. Max Homa was in third with Shelton, Wawrinski, Tringali, Howell, Schwartzel, Noren, Finau, and Emiliano Grillo. And then it was the Matthew Wolf, so they were just a few shots back from that. But Thompson, I remember just his downhill bunker save. I forget what hole it was on. That was sort of the turning point of the tournament. He made that and was like, oh, okay, here we go. But you can just see Shelton was really the only one who couldn't get the putter rolling, him and Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore played pretty well, like he always does at the John Deere Classic, but it's encouraging to see him on the up. Oh, Doug Gim! I didn't even know who Doug Gim was then. But he came 18th last year, and he gained strokes putting? Good God. That's just blowing my mind at the moment. Yeah, this was like the worst week ever on DraftKings. Like no one had any of these guys besides Finau, essentially. I think that actually Jeff and I both jumped on Schwartzel live at 125 to 1, and we were like, oh, here it comes. It's happening. It didn't happen. Noren is obviously going to be a good look here. Did not play well at the Open, but, I don't know if he's in the field or not. I'm guessing that, no, he did not decide to come back over. So never mind. Don't worry about that with me in terms of Alex Noren. Where are we at here? So if we just sort by approach, Finau, Matthias Schwab, Oh, that's right. And then we bet him the next week at the Barracuda, and he came in third. The guy couldn't make a putt to save his life. Lee Biota, again, so everything is, I mean, with the form that Lee Biota's in right now, and looking at his numbers from here, his numbers from PGA National earlier this year, I mean, his number's going to suck because he's been playing so well. If we can catch a 50, maybe I'm good with that. I guess if Dustin's here and Reed's here along with Finau, maybe we can get a decent number. I just, it's really tough for me to say in that circumstance coming down to it. Norlander had a good week. Chris Baker, the birdie maker. Max Homa, good God, Watney. I think that was his last cut. I think this is his last cut made, unless he made one a few weeks back. He did. He made it at the John Deere Classic, and he made one at the Safeway to start the year. And before that, it was the 3M. So it's been a rough go for old Nick Watney. That's how easy this tournament is. So it's going to be a lot like the Travelers, Rocket Mortgage, John Deere, and Barbasol. So guys who are kind of accustomed to those sorts of birdie fests can really get going. Straka was playing some good golf at the time as well. Let's jump back one more year and just see how it was done the year before that. Obviously, Wolf won. And he did it, and there's Morikawa. Classic approach, Morikawa Hadwin. Okay. Interesting to see. He hasn't been that good in a while. Matsuyama was up there. Charlie Danielson, Fratelli, Streelman, Hadwin, Connors, Martin Laird, Patty Reed. Couldn't make any putts that week. Asswagon. Seems like South Africans do pretty well here, strangely enough. Yeah, it's been a rough go. Rough go for Hadwin. He had it kind of going at the U.S. Open, but a lot of that was 8 strokes putting. Charles Schwab was kind of the same way, where the chipping was off the charts. So there's no logical case to back Hadwin unless you're just really feeling it. See, Bryson was pretty good that week. Obviously, he's not playing. Lee Biota again, 34th 2 years ago. Wyndham Clark, how has he been playing? I feel like ever since I used him at the U.S. Open, he's been trash. Yeah, and he has been. Yeah, not been great for old Wyndham Clark. All right, let's build a model. See how this goes. Do I have one? Oh, yeah, 3M. Worked. So what do we got going on here? Strokes gained off the tee, worth about 15%. Strokes gained approach, 30%. Birdies are better gained, 10%. Opportunities gained, 5%. 200 to 225 par 3s, 5%. Strokes gained par 4, 15. Strokes gained par 5, 10%. Eagles gained 5%. And par 4s, 450 to 500 yards, 5%. Those were all the ones that I wanted to put in. They were already in there. No wonder this model worked for me in the past. I don't think it worked so well last year. I think that was from year 1 that it worked out really well because it just told me to play Wolf and Morikawa. So I did. And I won a ton of money. So that was great. I didn't bet them, though, because I had money on Bryson that week in terms of the outright market. But I'm curious to see who this spits out, as sleeper-wise at least. DJ Finau, Keegan, Wolf, Reed, Griot, List. Kokrak not playing. Louis, Vegas, Tringali, and Cam Davis. Gim is up there. Bubba is up there. Bubba did play this last year. He was playing like every tournament last year, as I recall. Missed the cut at the 3M, but man, he's in the middle of a nice stretch right now. I mean, he was in at the Travelers. He could have won. And then he made that run at the Rocket Mortgage on the final day. 13th at Valspar, 18th at Wells Fargo. 2 majors in between, coming off an off week. Didn't have a ton of travel to do. Don't hate it. How was he playing going into the 3M last year? Yeah, he was on a really bad run going into the 3M last year, and then he got hot, basically starting at the Northern Trust all the way through, and then we all bet him at the Masters, and obviously he did not win in November, but he's actually on a nice run right now. You can see the ball striking is really pristine. The putting has come back to life a little bit. Maybe Bubba's worth a look here. I don't know if this is necessarily a Bubba course, but then it's something that we can get into, I think. This is over the past 50 rounds, by the way. Lee Biota, even 20th. Let's shrink this down to super short-term form and look at the past 12 rounds and see if that can tell us anything about what is going on here. Lee Biota, Louis are going to be my guesses 1, 2. Vegas, okay. Vegas, Bubba, Grace not playing. Seamus Power, Kokrak not playing. Stricker, Louis, Dustin, Lee Biota. Reed, Garcia, Stanley. Feel like Stanley was the first round leader here a year ago. Can't remember if that's the case or not. I can go effort that for us, though, to see what happened at this tournament last year. We'll go to schedule, go to 2020 season, and go take a look at this. 3M Open. It was also a different spot last year in terms of the schedule, but so was a lot. take a look at first round leader and last. So the sheet is going to be, let's see, rough bluegrass with fescue. Yeah, it's the long grass. The 2018 renovation, including narrowing of fairways, didn't really make that big of a difference. Bent grass tees, bent grass greens. Number of water hazards, 27. Numbers of water in play, 15 holes and 72 bunkers across the course. So, like I said, the driving accuracy is way up at this course. First round, that's the final round leaderboard. First round leaderboard, Wawrinski, Michael Thomas, and they were there till the very end, and then there were 7 guys at -6, so those birdies are going to be huge. Matthew Wolff opened with a 6 under. Let's see. Dustin Johnson was 7. This is the one where DJ withdrew last year. I really like DJ, too. They were giving us a good number following his 80 at Memorial. Let's see. Yeah, it played just at 70. That's kind of crazy. There were some guys with terrible rounds, 7 bogey-free rounds. Obviously, Thompson held on for the 2-shot victory over Adam Long. Let's see if there was anything for the week that we can see. Miscellaneous notes. Adam Long closed 63 and 64 to earn his second runner-up of the year. Bob Shelton came in with 4 straight missed cuts and ended up coming T3. After holding a share of the lead after each round, Wawrinski finished T3, represents his first top 10 since the Greenbrier a year before. Then he got on a nice little run and won the following week. Griot, all right, so this is a Griot course. Noren, an easy course. Schwartzel entered the week with 3 events to satisfy his major medical exemption, needing approximately 108 points, and came up just shy of doing it. Defending champ Matthew Wolff finished T12. Become the first player to win his first 2 PGA Tour events at the same event since Daniel Berger. Okay. So yeah, Patton Kizzire played really well in the final round. Like that's sort of the key to DraftKings Showdown. Final round, play Patton Kizzire. That guy's final rounds are just outrageous at the moment. Anyone rate out really bad? Well, let's see. No, Cameron Percy, my guy, always up there. Harmon could be a decent look here if he gets everything rolling right his way. Oh, Michael Gellerman. Guy loves coming up from the Corn Ferry and playing Sink. I mean, it's hard to rule out something like Sink, especially at a course where around the green means as little as it does here. We know he's still a greens and regulation maven. Haggy continues to be up there. Seifert playing a little bit better golf over the past 12 rounds. Obviously, he has the decent history here with his decent performance. Anyone good near the bottom? Nah, not really. Okay, I think that will do it for us as a part of the 3M this week. I'd give you a longer show, but I don't want to yammer on for 50 minutes about a tournament, frankly. I care about because I love golf and I love betting and I will be watching this tournament. But we're just into this weird part of the schedule. Like the Olympics are coming up. There's a WGC. You got the Wyndham. You got the playoffs. I'm far more interested in all of those events than I am in this event. So this is really where we're at the moment with the 3M. Hopefully we can win some money. That would be fantastic news. You can do that by playing in the best tournament on DraftKings, the PME Open. Link is in the description right now, so go reserve your spot. Got a new show coming out this week. It's going to be a lot transitioning back into football right now. I think Jeff and I are going to record some football stuff that will be out this week. Hopefully I can get Cust and Gabe aligned so we can do an Olympics preview in terms of betting. So there's going to be a lot going on. Please subscribe, support Mayo Media Network, and check out Fantasy Football Picks and Bets. I think that's where the Jeff and I show is eventually going to go up. So I'm pretty excited about that. The host search continues, and that's the show that they will appear on. I got the list narrowed down to 8 right now. So we'll be interviewing people throughout the course of August to see who gets those jobs. We might have 2 spots available for people. So I'm super excited about that as well. So thank you all for watching. Smash the like on the way out. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!